This is the hardest question in the world, and I'm eager to see how some of you answer it. Let's imagine you've been given a chance to start a new society from scratch, one that doesn't have any of the problems of current society. You've been given an idyllic piece of land. It's not surrounded by enemies. There's plenty of fresh water and farmland, and there are no corporations. There's no Wall Street. There are no governments. Everything you hate about society is gone. Here's your chance to start over and to make sure you built a society in which everyone has what they need all the time. Here's the question. The big building you use to store food for the winter has gotten damaged in a storm, and you need 100 people to come help repair it. And you're on a deadline. This has to be done before the weather turns cold. Now, because you're trying to build a perfect utopia, of course everyone is free to pursue their dream, whatever work they feel they were called to do. So you ask for volunteers to help rebuild the structure. You need 100 people and only 50 show up. The hardest question in the world is, how do you go about getting the other 50 workers that you need? Because when you start to go around and ask people, every single one of them in their own mind believes they have a good excuse for not doing it. This one has a newborn and says, well, of course I'm going to stay home with my baby. I'm not going to neglect my child for work. This one says, I disagree that the crops should be kept in that building at all. I think everybody should have their own space in their own homes. I'm building my own. This guy says, it's not my dream to do construction. My dream is to become a podcaster. I'm at home working on my podcast. All of society, all of civilization has been entirely about how do you coerce these people into doing work they don't want to do. So honest question, in your perfect society where you make all of the rules, how would you do it? Specifically, how would you do it? Because throughout history, there's only been a few ways to do this. For example, you could point a weapon at them and force them to do it. But I assume none of you would choose that. Or you could pay them to do it, but the moment you do that, you introduce inequality into the system. Because you are literally saying, hey, if you agree to come help build the storehouse, you will be able to have a nicer home than the person who didn't agree to do that. The other way is to build hard, necessary work into the culture. But that's just another way of saying that social pressure from the neighbors would make you do it. That if you don't show up to work, then everyone will be mean to you and they will exclude you from their social circles. In other words, you're using extreme fear and anxiety to motivate people to come do the work. What I found is when you ask people this question, a lot of them will try to dodge it entirely. They would say, well, in my perfect community, people would want to help. But that's like if I asked you to design an airplane and you said, well, mine can be any shape I want it to be because this would be for a world where gravity doesn't exist. It is a fundamental mathematical law of the universe that the work that needs done to keep a community running and the work that people enjoy doing or find satisfaction doing is not the same work. It would be an incredible coincidence if it was. Having a society that survives factually requires people to do a lot of work they would rather not do. So I would love an answer without deflecting or dodging or implying that I'm asking some different question. How would you, in your hypothetical village, get that work done?